For 9 long years, every Monday morning began the same way. Before sunrise, the roar of tanker trucks echoed across the quiet countryside. Grace Thompson would step onto her small porch and watch another load of spoiled milk being dumped beside the fence that bordered her struggling farm. The nearby dairy processing plant claimed it was the cheapest way to dispose of milk that couldn't be sold. The smell was unbearable. Neighbors complained. Visitors stopped coming. Some people even joked that Grace's farm had become the county's largest garbage dump. Each week, she watched thousands of gallons of wasted milk soak into the ground. And each week, she felt more helpless. Before we continue, if you enjoy inspiring stories about ordinary people turning impossible situations into extraordinary success, please like this video, leave a comment telling us where you're watching from, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring you more incredible stories every day. Grace wasn't born into wealth. After her husband passed away unexpectedly, she was left alone to manage the family farm and raise 2 young children. Money became scarce. Bills piled up. Equipment broke down faster than she could repair it. Many nights she stayed awake, wondering whether she would lose everything her family had worked for. The dairy company offered small payments for allowing the dumping, but the money barely covered expenses. To most people, Grace was simply surviving. To some, she was failing. As years passed, the dumping continued. 9 years. More than 400 truckloads. The smell became part of daily life. Children from nearby towns laughed when they passed the property. Some called it the spoiled farm. Potential buyers refused to purchase land nearby. People often asked the same question: why don't you just move? Grace would smile politely, because deep down, she couldn't afford to leave, and she refused to abandon the land her family loved. One rainy afternoon, everything changed. A retired food scientist named Walter Jenkins stopped at the farm after his truck broke down nearby. While waiting for repairs, he noticed the large dumping area. Most people saw waste. Walter saw something else. Opportunity. He explained that spoiled milk wasn't always worthless. Under the right conditions, certain bacteria and fermentation processes could create valuable dairy products. Grace listened carefully. For the first time in years, someone wasn't talking about her problem. They were talking about possibilities. Grace became obsessed with learning. She borrowed books, watched tutorials, attended workshops whenever she could afford the trip. She learned about fermentation, aging rooms, milk cultures, cheese production. Most nights she studied until midnight, then woke before dawn to work the farm. People thought she was wasting her time. After all, she had no business experience, no investors, no fancy equipment. But Grace kept going. Her first cheese experiment was a disaster. The second wasn't much better. Several batches had to be thrown away. Months of effort produced almost no profit. Friends suggested she quit. Family members worried she was chasing an impossible dream. But every failure taught her something. Every mistake became a lesson. And slowly, the quality improved. One weekend, Grace brought several wheels of handcrafted cheese to a local farmer's market. She expected little. Instead, every piece sold out before noon. Customers loved the flavor. Some returned asking for more. Restaurant owners requested samples. For the first time in years, Grace drove home smiling. The idea was working. Word spread quickly. Local chefs praised her products. Food bloggers began writing about the unusual farm producing exceptional artisan cheese. People became fascinated by her story. Many traveled just to meet the woman turning waste into opportunity. Orders increased every month. What started as a side project became a growing business. And Grace realized she would need help. She hired workers from nearby communities. Many were people struggling to find employment. Together, they expanded production. Storage rooms became aging facilities. Old barns became workshops. The farm slowly transformed. The same property once known for spoiled milk was now known for award-winning cheese. The smell of failure had been replaced by the smell of success. The dairy company eventually noticed Grace's growing business. Executives were shocked. For years they had viewed the spoiled milk as a costly problem. Now someone else was generating profits from what they threw away. Soon they approached Grace with an offer. Instead of dumping the milk, they wanted to sell excess supplies directly to her company. The relationship had completely reversed. Years passed. Grace's products appeared in specialty food stores across the country. Major retailers signed contracts. Tourists visited the farm every week. Business magazines featured her story. Annual revenue climbed higher and higher. Eventually, her company surpassed $5 million in value. The woman once mocked for living beside a waste dump had built a thriving cheese empire. Visitors often asked Grace the same question: "What was the secret to your success?" She would smile and point toward the old fence where the trucks once stopped. Then she'd say, "Most people saw a problem and walked away." She'd pause. I looked a little longer, because success rarely arrives wearing a name tag. Sometimes it arrives disguised as frustration, as rejection, as inconvenience, as waste. And sometimes the very thing others throw away becomes the foundation of everything you build.